we socialized to snack? We didn't used to snack. What happened? Well, snacking, which is even an invented word, which doesn't even exist in most languages. They call it, like in France, they call it le snack because they don't have a word for this because it's very, very inappropriate. We don't eat between meals. Maybe it was okay to give children a snack, which would be a nickname for child's small-sized meal to help them last between, you know, that time when they get home from school. Maybe they didn't have the best of lunches at school, and they can have a quick little small amount to not spoil their dinner, because dinner is an important social time. So meals, which is not snacks, which is when you should be eating, a meal isn't just the food you eat. It's an opportunity for socialization, for training children, for interacting with people in your community and your family, for keeping up on anything that you need to know. Humans are a social species. So, talking to people and gathering around food, it's in our DNA. It is very, very, very important, which is why it's so important to have the right kind of community and support around you of people doing the same thing, because the way we learn to eat is to see how is everybody around us eating. Now, what happened was, all of a sudden, everyone around us is eating all the time. It becomes very, very hard for you not to eat all the time when you see other people eating all the time. Your brain is going, well, they're eating, it must be eating time. And you want to eat, and you can't not think about eating when they are. Plus, there's all this reciprocation and things like that. You know, there's social bonding, it just feels right, it feels better. And we before had this really a culture against eating between meals. Now, why would we have a culture against eating between meals? Well, let's look for the most course of humankind. It took a lot of hours just to gather what you needed to be able to eat, and then after that, it took more hours to prepare it so it's ready to eat. We didn't have all these prepared foods that you could just rip open a bag and eat it then. We didn't have microwave ovens that you could take something. To be able to eat, that meant someone, if you were a child, someone had to fix it for you too. And after slaving away over a hot stove, which was, you know, obviously there weren't stoves all this time, or hot fire, or, you know, in the hot African plains chasing down an antelope, then you just didn't like people just waltzing in and helping themselves to what was going to be dinner. So there was this structure. We sit down and we all eat dinner together. We all contribute to making dinner. And snacking is, well, we don't really need much effort to contribute to dinner. So if you say you're hungry, here, have a little snack. And before you know it, everybody is snacking. And when we snack, we don't really stop eating meals. A lot of people nibble, but they still eat their meals. And we know physiologically that snack, it ruins the dinner of a child, but it doesn't really ruin the dinner of adults. We start to learn is like snacks don't really count because of this socialization thing. Now, the other thing is humans as a social species, we need to think about status, which is really similar for humans as it is for other animals. So, you know, we all have seen like Wild Kingdom or something like that on TV, where the lion, you know, takes down the antelope or whatever, and the biggest, strongest, baddest ass lions, they get to go first and eat their fill, and then, you know, as you go down the hierarchy, that's when the other animals and the other lions in the pride get access to the proceeds of the hunt. And what is happening for us is in our brain is when we see other people eating and we're not allowed to eat, it makes us feel deprived and low status. It makes us feel bad, and it makes us feel stressed, because stress is how we perceive this bad feeling that's like this. And then if we eat, we feel, oh, I'm as good as you are. I'm not a peasant and you're not a king, so I can eat too, and I feel better. And then we get into this habit, this nibbling habit, feeding the bratty, you know, chattering little voice in our brain all the time going, is it time to eat yet? Is it time to eat yet? Oh, no? How about now? Is it time now? Can I eat now? And it just goes all the time, because this is what our social culture has turned into. One of every time and every place is an appropriate eating time or place. And The way around this is to start to look into developing some skills, and that's what this book will be all about, is developing skills that help you place a framework around your eating. Now, we tend to think of it, what I call is, we want to put up a fence, but it's probably more useful to think in terms of a frame. So a frame is something that sets off something beautiful and valuable. And I would like to frame in the meal. You could think of it as fence out the snacks, but you really don't need to. When we bring back importance and priority and status and pleasure to a meal, we don't have to worry about the fence so much. The frame negates the need for so much fencing. So you can fence, it works, but you can also frame, and it works too.